There is an update coming in from Fabrizio Romano and Ekrem Kona, a Turkish football transfer expert. As far as Leroy Sane transfer to Arsenal is concerned, then we are talking Frankie de Jong, perfect signing for Arsenal other than Manchester United. Ryan Babel, a former Liverpool player, has come out and said that. And lastly, we are going to discuss Zinchenko. Most of you have been worried about him not appearing into the training sessions of Arsenal and having not featured into the game of Lyon that Arsenal beat 3-2, 3-0 and 2-1 in penalties in that game of football when he never showed up, and your worries were really high of him having sustained an injury because of his injury record at Arsenal. We have an update that is going to leave Arsenal fans smiling from ear to ear. Welcome to you, Rokani Media Football. How are you guys? And where are you watching us from? I go by the names of Rokani David. Smash the like button, comment and share. And if at all you're watching us for the very first time, lower right bottom corner, that's the place to be. Smash the subscription button. After smashing it, hit the notification bell. That will enable you get notified every time I upload a video onto this channel. Now, Leroy Sane to Arsenal has been really on the verge of every story or blog or huge media football outlet. Him being linked to Arsenal, and it looks like him and Bayern Munich are really not having the best of the time they are supposed to be having. Leroy Sane is really a player that left Man City and joined Bayern Munich, I think in 2000, was it 2020? Let me check here. When did he join Bayern Munich? Yeah, 2020. That's when he joined Bayern Munich after spending some good years at Man City because he failed to fit exactly into the team of Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola said, "You are really going to leave my team." So after that, he went to Bayern Munich. He's playing very well, but obviously he is so much into the starting 11 of a team of Bayern Munich, and he lacks enough playing time according to the sources we are gathering. Why? Every player in the game of football would love to find himself in the starting 11 of every huge game. And what shows you that you are really a player that is needed by the club? Every huge game you must appear. But Leroy Sane in the huge games against Barcelona, he never featured. You see, against Borussia Dortmund, he never starts. So, and he always comes from the bench most of the games, meaning that he is really that kind of player who is not contented with what is going down at a club of Bayern Munich. Let's see how Ekrem Kona has gone ahead to let us know about this deal of Leroy Sane. He's telling us that Arsenal are an option for Bayern Munich winger Leroy Sane if the 26-year-old does not sign a contract extension by the start of next season. Why is it all about a contract extension? The contract he's having is running out in 2025, meaning that if he doesn't renew his contract or extend it, by the end of next season, he'll be left with 1 year on his contract, meaning that he'll be close to 26, 27 years, and he'll run his contract down, meaning that he'll be able to move out on a free. And this is something that Bayern Munich never wanted to happen again to their team, because there is even Nicolas Scholler. You know him very well. He went to play as a fullback for Borussia Dortmund. They were giving him a new contract and said, "No, I'm not really wanting your contract," and left out on a free. And it has become a norm for very many huge players moving out on a free from clubs where they are to go on and get more money. The likes of Paul Ebile Pogba left United on a free. Look at the other player. There is a recent player who really left on a free. Kylian Mbappe was going to leave on a free also. There is another player that really left on a free. Look at Eriksson and very many other players. It is becoming a norm in very many huge teams to go on and do that. But obviously, Bayern Munich doesn't want to do that because Leroy Sane's value is at like 60 million euros minimum. You get? So, if you don't tie him on a longer contract, that means you are going to go out and lose him on a free. So that is something that Bayern Munich doesn't want. And obviously, Leroy Sane is having Arsenal as an option to join in the next season because he feels like he is not being used as he's supposed to be used in the game of football. Because the main reason as to why he left Man City is the same reason as to why he wants to leave Bayern Munich. He's not being played a lot or more at a club of Bayern, he wants to find a club that is going to make him a priority when he is playing the game of football. And Arteta has been seen on very many occasions reuniting with players he was with at Man City. Look at Gabriel Jesus, he was with him at Man City. Zinchenko, he was with him at Man City. And obviously the other player that he was with at Man City that he wanted to sign was Douglas Luiz. Douglas Luiz was at Man City, though he failed to get a work permit, and then they loaned him. Then Aston Villa went and bought him. So Leroy Sane was one of those players that worked with Arteta at Manchester City, and Arteta is a person who is interested in him. And I've always told Arsenal fans, I'm not biased about Bukayo Saka, but one thing you should know about Bukayo is that his flair is really lacking. His instinct to kill through his dribbles and set skills is really not at the level that Mikel Arteta wants. Arteta wants players like Leroy Sane. That's why he was going in for Rafinha, because the way they commit themselves into the opponent's area creates more threat than that of Bukayo Saka. Saka is a very good player, but he is really a usual player. There is nothing unusual about Bukayo Saka. Even if you're watching him when England is playing France right now, there is nothing usual. There is nothing unusual about him. He's really the same player. And that's why he finds it hard sometimes to break down defenses, you get? But Leroy Sane is a better version of a Bukayo Saka, and he can come in and do lots of things for Arsenal. And one thing I've liked about Mikel Arteta, he has gone ahead and taken the blueprint of what Pep Guardiola is doing at Man City. He doesn't want to have a player who singly plays in that position at a top level and his backup is really way off. You get? Let me give you an example. When you take off Bukayo Saka and bring on Reiss Nelson, it's really a drop-off, not so? But if you are having Leroy Sane and Bukayo Saka competing for that same position, it really puts these both players in a competition level that each and every time they come on the field of play, they have to go on and really do the needful. So whoever comes up and really outcompetes the other is the one who starts. And I believe that's what you would want at Arsenal. Get Bukayo Saka off, bring in Leroy Sane. Start Leroy Sane, Bukayo Saka come in later. I think that's what you would be loving at Arsenal if at all you are an ideal Arsenal fan who wishes it luck, because that's the chemistry of winning trophies. Because I remember those days when Arsenal was really a killer. They had lots of players: Ljungberg, Roy Pala, Perez, Sylvain Wiltord, Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp. You get 6 players in the front positions that were really deadly. You get? In the midfield, they had Gilberto Silva, they had Patrick Vieira, they had Edu Gaspar. Which other player they have in the midfield? Fabrizio came in later. So they had a very decent team, that is Arsenal. So I believe, to go back to those levels, I believe Arsenal needs to be having a Leroy Sane, and obviously they are really willing to go on and sign the player in the names of Leroy Sane. Now, Fabrizio Romano has also come out and reacted to the story of Leroy Sane to Arsenal, and in his own words, this is what he had to say. Fabrizio is saying that Arsenal are bound to be linked with a long list of attacking players now, but my understanding is that there is nothing going on with Leroy Sane. I don't see Bayern selling Sane in January unless a crazy bid arrives. Their plan is to continue with him. He's saying that he doesn't see Bayern selling Leroy Sane in January, meaning that if at all Arsenal are really going to go on and really get Leroy Sane, they can get him in the summer. And that's what Ekram Kona was telling us about Leroy Sane, that it's not all about a January transfer move, it's all about a move in next summer. And if at all he doesn't extend his contract at Bayern Munich, they are looking to move him on, because they know he'll be left with 1 year and his value will be really lessening each and every year that passes by when he has not yet renewed his contract. So that is what Fabrizio is telling us about Leroy Sane. But obviously Arsenal is being linked to very many players, but this Leroy Sane deal has been really on the mouth of very many credible journalists, as far as he's being linked to a side which goes by names of Arsenal. So let's wait and see what is going to happen for Leroy Sane to Arsenal. But obviously Arsenal are really doing the needful to sign this player, and obviously the player is having Arsenal as an option to go on and make a big return to the Premier League, because even in the Bundesliga he has failed to go on and hit the ground running as we expected him to be doing right about now for the seasons are spent there. 2 years down the road, he is not really one of the kind that we expected to be, and this is an effect of the manager that is now at Bayern Munich, because I think this is his second season at Bayern Munich, not so? And the manager who signed him is not the manager who is there right now. So that gives him lots of questions. And for Mikel Arteta, he wants him. He's a darling for Mikel Arteta, and Arteta is keeping telling him, please come to Arsenal. You are going to revive your career. Now, Alexander Zinchenko, 26 years of age, Arsenal player who missed out onto the game of Arsenal when they beat Lyon by 3-0, had put very many Arsenal fans in a frenzy. He sent them in the frenzy because they really thought this player was not going to return. Not so. Or he was injured, and he has been suffering close to 4-time injuries at Arsenal ever since he came in through, and he missed out on a couple of games, though he has been really pivotal in the number of games that he's been playing for a team which goes by the names of Arsenal recently. Now, we are having a person close to Arsenal, and he's having his cameras down in Dubai. He has told us that, before I even tell you what he has told us, he's known as Corner Ham, that is at Tiki Taka Corner, founder of the AFC Arsenal Newsroom, junior assistant producer for the Football Daily, social and writer of F365, and ex-writer at Football London and Swawak in there for you. He's telling us that Zinchenko is training with the squad and getting back to full fitness. He's had some muscle tightness. He's expected to be ready for West Ham on the 26th of December. I believe that for Zinchenko, it's really worrying. If at all, even now, he is having injuries. I don't know what exactly is disturbing him, because at Man City, he was not an injury-prone player. And that really worries me a lot on his future at Arsenal, because he's a player that gives Arsenal a different dimension of a different left-back who, when he cuts the center line, becomes a midfielder and obviously utilizes the inside tunnels of the pitch to see to it that Arsenal has a lot of the ball, especially because he's a press-resistant player and acts well in tight spaces. That is Alexander Zinchenko. He's so much pivotal to how Arsenal is playing. And I 100% believe he is needed in every game that Arsenal plays, because every time he's available, he starts, because he gives them reference of the wide areas, and even when he cuts inside, he's one of those players that is so much integral in the play of Arsenal. But he's returning on the game of AC Milan. I believe he's going to take part, but the game of West Ham is really crucial, because Arsenal need to find themselves in the win to see to it that they extend their lead again. You get? Arsenal are 5 points ahead of Man City. They need a Zinchenko, and you wouldn't like to hear more news that Zinchenko is injured when Gabriel Jesus, your target man, is also injured. So those are not things that you would love to see at Arsenal happening. But obviously this man in the names of Zinchenko is back in training, and that's some good news for Arsenal fans all over the world. Let's leave Zinchenko alone and let's go to Ryan Babel, a former Liverpool player and a Dutch national team player. He has told us that for Frankie de Jong, if you go from Barcelona to United, I think it's a step backwards. I would rather see him at a team like City or even Arsenal as well. I know why Ryan Babel is saying this. One, he is really having a very bad feeling for United. No Liverpool player really feels well for United, because you know the beef between United and Liverpool has been there for a very long time. But I believe Frankie de Jong would act well for every team wherever he goes, because he's a different kind of player that Arsenal would need in that double pivot where there is a player like Thomas Partey. If it's Manchester United, you would love him to come up and do what Eriksen does for United. At Man City, you know that holding midfield area, you would love him to play alongside players like Kevin De Bruyne, Rodri, in that midfield three. Even at Liverpool, he would act well. I believe every talented player according to the way the game of football is changing and the managers that are really so much improving the game of football and wanting to play a more tiki-taka game of football that is flamboyant, would like to accommodate De Jong. So I believe Ryan Babel is just biased about United, but I believe Frankie de Jong would act well at Arsenal and also at a club called Manchester United. So I don't see the reason as to why he had to go on and exclude Manchester United, because even at Cody Gakpo, he went ahead and say that Cody Gakpo doesn't suit Manchester United. He just suits Arsenal. So I believe there is just a grudge between him and Manchester United because he was playing for Liverpool, and obviously he had to go on and say all of that. So guys, thank you for watching in. Tell me your thoughts about Leroy Sane latest transfer update to Arsenal. Then Zinchenko training, back in Arsenal training. And lastly, Ryan Babel says that Frankie de Jong is a perfect fit for Arsenal. Your reactions are welcome in the comment section below. Rokani David is my name. Don't forget to go in the right bottom corner, smash the subscription button. After smashing it, hit the notification bell. That will enable you get notified every time I upload a video onto this channel. And don't forget to do the needful and share these videos, because the more you share them, the more people are really going to go on and watch them. So may the Almighty Lord watch over you. I'm returning with the match reaction of France versus England. Let's wait and see where the entire 90-minute game is going to end. I'm out.